Hello, I'm your host Bailey Holland and welcome to Perfect Entertainment. Now, we've had a slight technical issue where we've lost the VT roles, so we're going to have to just sort of add a bit and wing it a bit, but everything should be fine. This is my host Alexander Robertson. This is my this is my guest Alexander Robertson, sorry. This is my guest Paige Everidge, and this is my guest Bradley Hancock, who was on our last one. And I was trying to do a bit of a David Bowie impression, but now I've gone Australian, and no, actually I've gone New Zealand, come to think of it, and I'm stuck doing this now because I started this way. Fortunately, I can actually do a Kiwi accent, so hi, I'm Bailey, I'm from New Zealand, it's nice to meet you all, and it's already gone horrifically wrong. Right, okay, so we had a range of topics to talk about, and I think we can still vaguely talk about them. You were meant to be discussing scores in movies with me.
Yeah, unfortunately, the guest who was supposed to be here, Oliver Reeve, is sick today. So at the last minute,
we should sue him. Hopefully, he'll get better very soon.
At the last minute, I've jumped in because I'm a musician. Me and Bailey are musicians, so I'm going to talk a bit about the importance of music in movies and throughout history. It's I was going to have a video roll of Midnight Express, the chase scene with Giorgio Moroder, but we won't have it, so I'll just be talking.
Yeah, Paige, you were going to be talking about the movie Vera, weren't you?
It's not a movie, it's a TV series.
Sure. Yeah, the TV series Vera, sorry, yes. Okay, so do you know your stuff about that? Can you talk about it without the video roll?
Yes.
Great. Brad, I don't actually know what you were supposed to be talking about because you've come on at the last minute. No, that was supposed to be Sophie, but Sophie gone. Oh, lovely. Right, Brad, okay, you can talk about Darling in the Franxx, get a bit of anime in there. Right, so, without further ado, I'm going to Paige, you are going to start us off. Vera, tell us about it.
Well, it's set in Northumberland, which basically
Automatically makes it a grim drama.
No, it's funny. The chemistry between the characters is just amazing. They have so much banter.
Okay.
So
Fair enough. So what's it actually about? Because when I was watching the VT rolls earlier, what we were going to do is the clip was going to play and I was going to go, oh, that looks very dramatic. And it does look very dramatic from the trailer. What's it actually about?
well, it's a detective series, so it's basically solving crimes, which is my favourite thing.
Yes, you have mentioned this, even though you don't watch Criminal Minds because you're scum.
What about Lucifer? Do you watch Lucifer?
Lucifer?
Yeah, it's about the devil solving crimes.
No.
What about Luther?
No.
You don't watch Luther?
No, I haven't had a
What about
chance to
Dexter?
yet.
Okay. Are you planning to?
Yeah.
Yes, okay, watch Luther.
Of course
Luther's
I am.
amazing.
Yeah.
What about Dexter?
Overrated.
Are we saying random names now? I've never heard of this.
Dexter was
Inspector
about a
Morse.
serial killer who caught serial killers.
Oh,
Basically,
that sounds good.
yes, it was good to begin with. Basically, he knew he didn't want to harm innocent people, so he decided to serial kill serial killers instead of innocent people.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That is really psychopathic, but yeah.
Okay. You were also meant to be talking about the life of the party, I believe.
Yeah.
Right. That is a film, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay. Who is it starring?
It stars Melissa McCarthy.
Yeah.
Quite a lot.
I like Melissa McCarthy. I don't like a lot of the movies she's been in. I think her comic talent is very often wasted. Wasn't she in that god-awful The Happy Time Murders?
Yes.
Yeah, but she was good in it. Other than Melissa McCarthy, who she plays in everything, who did she specifically play in The Life of the Party? What was going on there?
She played a mother of a student, and basically, because she became a mother, she had to stop her education. So she went back to college as a mum to study with her daughter.
Okay, I like that. That works, that's pretty cool. I should try and lower my voice a bit actually because it's gone way too high pitched. I like that, that actually works. So is there anything specific you'd like to say about The Life of the Party?
It just is amazing.
The VT roll we put together, it looked damn funny, yes.
Yeah, this would have been so much better with the VT rolls active, but unfortunately the computer system we're using is terrible, so thanks Doncaster College. By the way, Anti-Rail, if you're watching this for some bizarre reason, please give us better equipment. We need it so badly.
Well, it's just we didn't have a chance to do a tech rehearsal and, you know...
No, it's not, Alec. We need better equipment.
Okay, sorry, yeah.
No, really, we do need better lenses.
No, that's really good gear, actually, but...
Yeah, okay, that's good gear, but we do need better camera equipment badly, desperately badly. We're still using JVCs. Help us.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to jump over to Alec now. So, Giorgio
Moroder, yeah, well, my name's Alex Robertson, I'm a musician, been playing 41 years or something. I'm at Bailey because I'm what's called an LSA in the class, and we got on, we both like Fender guitars and own Fender guitars, and we both like rock.
Yeah, I mean, Alec's a right lad. He doesn't support me, I don't need support, but he always comes over and speaks to the students when he's got a chance, and we just got so much in common.
Yeah, we clicked. So when I was asked to do this, I thought, oh no, and then I realised I'd be talking with Bailey and me, and he can talk about music till the cows come home. So I've composed the scores for a couple of documentaries. I wrote the intro for a documentary I produced for NASA. I've done 4 or 5 TED shows.
In fairness, Alec, what haven't you done?
Just giving a bit of a background of my stuff. And yeah, so I've done a lot of shows, but I specialise in music. I'm an AV tech, but I specialise in music. So we're going to talk a bit about this and the importance of music in films. Where would we be, Bailey, without music in films?
Absolutely nowhere is where we'd be.
Yeah, absolutely.
We wouldn't even be back in the days of silent films. Before we had dialogue, we had music.
That's it, but in the days of the silent, that's where we would be if we didn't have music and audio. We'd be in the silent movie era, yeah. But they weren't silent, were they?
No.
Because you had a pianist at the side of the stage,
yeah.
And these guys used to just improvise it. They'd watch it, or Wurlitzer organ would rise out and say, and if there's a chase scene, they'd be like, you know, if there's a romantic scene, they'd be doing this. So there was music in it, and those guys must have been so confident and improvisers to do that.
I mean, just film was such a new industry that they'd hire people who were like often quite successful going around touring, doing music. So they really knew their stuff back then.
Oh, absolutely. You've got to be confident to do that. But you know, now, you know, as movies progressed and you could have music in there, it was used to great effect. I mean, in your last broadcast, you were talking about Pulp Fiction. Mm-hmm. I mean, the soundtrack to Pulp Fiction is just, it just makes it, doesn't it? But
it blew my mind the first time I watched that movie, not just...
It makes it, doesn't it?
But yeah.
It makes it. If you
the dancing.
Yeah. I mean, you get good casting with a good script, good music and good production, you can't go wrong, can you really? But the clip I was going to show was from Midnight Express, the chase scene, which is written by a chap called Giorgio Moroder.
Who is, as you were saying...
He's the godfather of techno and house. He's pioneer of sequence music. When I asked my manager if I could do this, he's also a rock musician, he's a professional musician in a lot of genres, and I told him I was going to be talking about Giorgio Moroder, and he went, man, he's just responsible for everything. And it's true, I mean, a lot of people don't know him, but he was really instrumental. But the chase scene is great, because when we were talking about this before, you were saying about the spaces as well.
Oh, yeah.
And in the middle of the chase scene, it just drops out. He's hiding in this market, and they're slaughtering chickens behind it. He's hiding, and the music cuts out. Then they discover him, and boom, the music comes kicking back in for the rest of the chase scene.
I mean, the real pioneer of that was Alfred Hitchcock. By the way, I've decided, because I'm not actually from New Zealand at all, I am from the British Isles, I've decided that I'm from Glasgow now.
You're good at this, aren't you?
Hitchcock, I wouldn't mind being an actor, to be honest, but Alfred Hitchcock was a real pioneer of the blank spaces. He did entire movies where the only music was diegetic, which for those of you at home who don't know, diegetic means within the space of the movie, like it's actually happening, the characters can hear the music. And Hitchcock would do movies where the only music was music the characters could hear. And that was just revolutionary, because he was operating in the 50s and 60s.
So when we were going through this earlier as a bit of rehearsal, I played the clip, the chase clip from Midnight Express to Bailey here, and we were analysing it. And one of the things, if you listen to it, so YouTube, the chase, Midnight Express, we were saying how the synthesizers sound a bit dated now, but it's because the old analog synths are using, I'm not sure when the film was, but it was in the 70s, so It will sound a bit dated compared to the music of today, but it's absolutely brilliant. One of my favourite movies.
And as dated as the equipment is, the actual composition of it still packs such a punch.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, it's like a good guitarist will make a bad guitar sound good. It's the person behind it, isn't it?
Right, let's drop this silly business with the accents. I'm actually going to talk to myself now because I'm making Paige laugh too much and she's just going to end up destroying the live stream by breaking at some point.
Okay, so.
What about you then? Can I be from Ireland instead?
God's sake.
But yes, massively important. Where would we be? You know, it just creates moods, and I mean, it's everything, isn't it? It's so yeah.
And movie themes can become iconic on the level of just like songs that have been released.
Chariots of Fire.
Superman.
Yeah.
Everyone knows that. Bum, 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 bum.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And then John Williams, of course, you know, is who created the Deer Hunter theme, and
Star Wars didn't he do as well?
Star Wars. Yeah. He's done so much. He's such a talented guy.
Oh, aye.
But another thing about the chase scene in Midnight Express is how they mix in the Foley's. Foley's are sound effects of a Turkish market and the Turkish street life behind the music. It really gives it atmosphere, and yeah, brilliant. Midnight Express, if you haven't watched it, watch it. Brilliant movie.
Okay, so that's very extensive. And at the end, we're going to come back and everyone's just going to have a bit of a group discussion. But for now,
Thank you.
let's go on to Upside Down Glasses Brad. So, because we have to bring Mr. Hancock here on at the very last minute because one of our guests dropped on, he's not had any time to rehearse with us, but he does know his stuff. He's going to be talking about anime Darling in the Franxx, because it's been a huge success recently, and I think you were wanting to talk about why it's taken off in such a big way.
Simply, giant robots.
And less simply,
It's more complex than just riding a robot. A robot has to be piloted by two people, and the two people have to be in perfect harmony. And basically, as soon as part of that harmony goes, the robot completely breaks down, basically.
Yeah. And it does what the best sci-fi does, and because the pilots have to have a relationship, it does what the best sci-fi does and talks about the human condition, doesn't it?
Basically, it takes a toll on people, and there's only certain people who can ride the robots.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, you have to be between a certain age, and you're basically used as fodder. So you'll probably die if you're the pilot of the robot.
Darling in the Franxx, the happy anime of the year.
Basically, it focuses on a group, which is Platoon 13, I believe, and it's got basically, I think it's 6 members, there's 7 members who live in the platoon, and 2 watchers who watch over them.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, all the adults, as they're called, the older people, are stripped from emotion, and just like We Happy Few, they take a kind of medicine to make them happy, and they basically do nothing themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the reason why only what they know as children can ride the robots, because they don't take these kind of medicines.
Yeah.
And to pilot the robot, you have to basically have increased the yellow blood count, and that's why people don't live as long, because having it for too long will probably shut down your organs.
Yeah.
And another major plot is they basically fight this unknown creature that emerged from the ground.
Oh, yeah.
And it's later found out that it's a former civilization who used to live there and was exterminated by a bigger threat.
Well, that's really interesting, and I think you kind of tied us into something there a little bit with We Happy Few. And I'm not wanting to cut you off, but we've not got that much time left, so what I'm wanting to bring us around to is the group discussion. I want to talk about interactive storytelling, because We Happy Few had very mixed reviews. A lot of people felt it didn't live up to its potential, but as people studying narrative, and you've worked on productions with narrative, I think it's very important to be aware of how you can effectively tell a story using an interactive medium like video gaming. So, first off, Nick, have you got
Okay.
any thoughts on that?
Yes, I'm kind of up the creek without a paddle because I don't play video games. Yeah, I mean, the narrative's everything really, isn't it? And I haven't seen the show that you were talking about either. So I don't have much to put in at this juncture. I'll try and comment lucidly down the line if I hear something.
Okie dokie. Well, Paige, I know that you are really big on Red Dead Redemption and Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yes, I'm a massive fan.
Do you feel that it made the best use of being a video game to tell its story, or do you think it was trying to be too movie-like?
Yes and no. It was trying to be quite movie-like, but in a sense, it has to be able to tell the story that it was trying to tell.
Mm.
So it kind of fits perfectly, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
I know that a lot of people have enjoyed it, but then some people feel that gaming is moving away from telling stories as efficiently as it can and actually becoming too movie-like. Brad, do you have any feedback on that?
Basically, there was a massive uproar about the new God of War,
Yeah.
and how it's big, like focused on its story more than killing all the gods you can.
Mm.
However, I feel like the story was done well. It was just the kind of fighting mechanic and all that lacks.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's down to, you've got to try and use the gameplay to tell the story as much as possible. Silent Hill 2 is considered one of the best games of all time because it's a horror game, but it really draws you into the narrative. It tells so much via the gameplay as opposed to cutscenes. It relies as much on you actually exploring the town and interacting with the characters as possible. And it has multiple endings, and there's a lot of hoo-ha around games with multiple endings, because usually it's arbitrary choices of literally you hold the controller and you hit left and right to choose between an option, and that affects your ending later on down the line. Silent Hill 2, it's actually down to how you play the game from the first moment you're in control to the last. If you heal often and save regularly, you get a different ending to if you play recklessly, you know, low health, don't heal, rarely save. How much you interact with different characters affects it too, and I think that that's the sort of form of interactive storytelling that gaming should really aspire to. Would anyone like to give any feedback on that?
There's also a game called Echo, where basically whatever you do when the lights are on will change how the game plays later on. So basically, if you attack an enemy from behind, you'll have enemies sneaking up behind you. If you shoot an enemy, the enemies will have guns in the next light. And basically, whether you bolt over a wall or walk down the stairs will change how the enemy walks. So they'll either bolt over and take cover, or they'll run out in the open and try to kill.
So, Paige, do you think that more games should be in the vein of games like RDR2 and try to be cinematic, or they should be cut from the Silent Hill 2 and Echo cloth of actually trying to use the fact that they're games to tell a story?
I think both.
Yeah, I think
If
there's
they
a
can
place
get
for
a
both.
fine, yeah, if they can get a fine balance for both,
Yeah.
that would be like the perfect
I
way
think
to
that-
tell
Yeah, I think, you know,
the story.
soundtrack to Tetris was really good.
Oh, yeah.
That's the last game I played.
Actually,
Alright.
that's one thing of Silent Hill, the soundtrack. Oh, Brad. Are we doing the hand jive now? No, actually, seriously, that's all we have time for.
Yes.
Again, like our last live stream, we'd say see you again next week, but there's never going to be another one. So I've been your host, Bailey Holland. This has been your guest. This has been your Alexander Robertson. This has been your Paige Etheridge, and this has been your Daddy Brady. Au revoir.